All right, so round 4, I think. Yeah, this will be my 4th video talking about my chapter in my book, which is going to be chapter 4. So last 3 videos, we talked about the introduction. We also talked about chapter 1. And the last video, we talked about chapter 2. And the whole idea was to kind of give you guys this overview of what chapter 3 included. So now we're going to be talking about chapter 4 in my book, Understanding and Helping Suicidal Teens, Therapeutic Strategies for Parents and Teachers from a Trauma Therapist. Yes, I am a trauma therapist, and I have close to almost 10 years in the field, give or take. Because I started my graduate school program, pretty fast. So it's been, give or take, 9 to 10 years in the field, working with children, teens, parents, and families. So this would be my second book. It is going to be published May 1st, 2018, and I am happy to be the author of a book like this. I think it's a book that's going to help us open discussion about some of the most important topics involving our adolescents, and for me, that is teen suicide. One of the things that I added to my introduction was, and not only the introduction, I think I also added it to the back of the book as well, that there's one piece that we forget as adults. And one very important piece that we forget about adolescents in today's society is that they are connected to social media. They understand it. They are very quick to try a new social media app, and they can get around me, their parents and their teachers with no problem whatsoever. And I thought I was smart because I finally learned how to work Facebook. Nope. They have gotten a hold of brand new social media and messaging programs that I talk about in my book. And I don't add this as a chapter or a subheading in my book. I don't talk about this, as if it's this big thing, but I do mention some of the social media apps and some of the social media programs that they could be using to kind of connect them to other teenagers who are suicidal. So you will find that in my book as well. And I can guarantee that you have not heard of the social media app called Kik Messenger. That's K-I-K Messenger. I'm almost sure that you have not also heard of WhatsApp. Those are 2 messaging systems that a lot of teens who are suicidal go on. And they go there to open up a dialogue between themselves and other teenagers, and they vent. It really is. It's a social media app of venting. So I briefly touch on those things in my book, and the whole idea of this chapter, which is chapter 4, is to awaken you to the fact that this is what's happening and here's how we can help. And then I also give you examples on various levels of care and the kind of professionals that you should be pursuing for your adolescent. And this chapter can also be very useful to teachers as well. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. Just kind of giving you a brief overview about chapter 4. So one of the things that I do in chapter 4, I give you a lot of bullet pointed information. My goal is not to overload you, so I give you bullet points of information like, what's this and what's that and what does that mean? And then you will also see me talking about how parents can and should approach adolescents who are suicidal. The last thing that we want to do is approach an adolescent in a negative way. We're going to lose them, right? We want to win them. We want to support them. We want to help them. We don't want to lose them. So I give you information on how the parent can correctly and appropriately approach their teenager. So you will see that in this book as well. I also help you see that there are certain things we need to avoid as well. So judging, minimizing, name calling, cursing, irate behaviors, things like that. So you're going to get bullet points as well. I also have listed some tips on how to involve the school, what you should be asking for if your teen is suicidal, what can be helpful to your teenager in school, like a 504 plan, an IEP, which is an individualized education plan, a tutor, behavioral health services that can come into the school to help your teenager. So I talk a lot about that, right? So the way to think about chapter 4 is that it's information overload, because I'm now beginning to give you all the tools that I think you're going to need. So it starts with chapter 4 and it ends with chapter 8. So you will see it builds slowly, and then it's like, boom, here's all the information, and then it ends very nicely. That has been the intention of this book. So I kind of ease you into the information, and then chapter 4, 5, and 6 is like really meaty. So get ready for that one. I also talk about learning how to react to an adolescent who is suicidal with empathy. We need to learn how to support our teenagers with empathy. Empathy is not yelling and screaming, cursing, slamming things, threatening, taking things away. It's not negative reinforcement. It is, I understand your pain. Please tell me how to help you, and allow me to show you the way that you need to go, or allow me to support you, allow me to get you involved with a therapist. So I give you guys tips on, or give parents and teachers tips on how to react with empathy, because I think empathy is a powerful tool if you know how to use it just right. So that's in there. Then Stephanie creeps back into the picture. And what's interesting is I give you an example of a father and his daughter, and actually a mom and a mother and a father and their daughter, who is Stephanie. And I give you this back and forth dialogue again. So we're back at this dialogue, right? It's like the dialogue that allows you to see the communication between me and Stephanie's parents, and me, Stephanie, and her parents, that kind of thing. So the dialogue is showing you how the parents need to react to Stephanie. It also shows you how I react to Stephanie. So I'm providing you with an example using myself of how to react to Stephanie with empathy. So you will see that in this book. And then the fun part, right, is you get to practice. So here we go. Right here. Wait. I told myself I was going to learn how to do this so you can see it right. But, oh God, it's upside down. Never mind. It's not going to work out. So I'm so sorry. But you practice. That's basically what I'm trying to show you. So you will see it here in this chapter. I'm going to give you a chapter where you can practice dialoguing with Stephanie. And so you're going to have Stephanie's comments, and she's going to get really oppositional. So it's giving you some practice on how you're going to deal with it. And then there's a spot for you to write down how you should or could or need to respond. And I think this is very, very important. I actually, 5 years ago, I worked with a client who was an awesome kid. He was higher functioning autism spectrum. He was all right, let me fix that. He was higher functioning on the autism spectrum. And if you're familiar with autism, it's on a spectrum now. So we have the severe, we have the mild, and then we have the high functioning. And the high functioning is technically Asperger's. And so he was a grand kid. Like, he was great. He was wonderful. He was sweet. He was respectful, smart, a genius. But his mom talked to him badly all the time, cursed at him, called him everything she could think to call him, things that you would never imagine a parent would call their kid. And of course he was adopted, so that just makes things that much more sticky. But I remember approaching her about how she communicated with her son and telling her that this cannot continue to happen. And I gave her homework every week. Learn a new way to approach him, learn a new tool or technique. And, the terminology switched so swiftly, and I was so happy to see that. And so was the son as well. So I think language is very, very important. So I give you the opportunity in this book to practice what kind of language and terminology you're going to use with a kid like Stephanie, who is really mouthy and oppositional, but also suicidal. So there's some practice tools in here for you. So, okay, so we go ahead and we practice, right? After we practice, then I bring you back into my dialogue with Stephanie and her parents, and I show you what we talk about and how I respond and communicate. So you will see that in there. After that, I focus back on teachers. I give you bullet pointed tips on how to deal with a child like Stephanie, and how to help her. Wait. So first of all, I hate being disorganized when it comes to my own stuff, because this is ridiculous. I can't find where it was. But this chapter, which is chapter 4, really is designed to get you ready for the following dialogues in chapter 5. After chapter 5, like 6, 7, and 8, there are no more dialogues. But I did give you 2 chapters of dialogues and 2 chapters of worksheets that you can practice using. So that's the whole deal for chapter 4. Now, I will say that, I don't know if you can see this, chapter 4 is really not that bad. Okay, if you don't like reading a lot of information, look at it this way. Chapter 4 is very thin. It's not that much. So we're talking maybe 10 pages, to kind of get us prepared for chapter 5 and 6 and chapter 7. So that is chapter 4. I will be coming back to you with chapter 5. I'm going to drink some water because my throat is bothering me, and pull up chapter 5, and we're going to jump right in to chapter 5 right after this video, so stay tuned.